feel like that intro probably worked out the worst of my annoyance and aggression at what's going on. If you're not aware, YouTube has made yet more arbitrary changes, though they seem to have learned a little bit from last time and have given people a month lead-in rather than just springing it on them like a cock in a jack-in-a-box. What they've done now is they have upped the bar for monetization. So the requirements that you have in order to be monetized are now much higher. You need plenty of subscriptions, but you also now need lots of watch time. Is the main thing. So for people who are sporadic in creating YouTube content, well, that can be for a number of reasons: scheduling, conflict, it being a hobby of theirs rather than a career. People who make animations and things that take a long time to do. A lot of them are fucked, or if they're not fucked, it's going to be very hard for them to unfuck themselves and get to the point of being monetized. I think I'm going to sneak in just under the wire with my channel, but the way that my channel has continued to be affected by these changes that they've made, it is fairly drastic. And I spent some time digging last night and this morning into the stats on my channel and the way that it's been affected and things that have been happening since the whole initial adpocalypse, trying to understand what the sweet baby Jesus on a two-stroke moped has been going on. See, my subs have steadily gone up, not to stratospheric levels, but I've been plugging away. My production quality is higher, I think. The content of my videos is higher. You know, you do something every day, pretty much, for over a year. You do naturally get better at it because you're spending more time and effort on it. And yet, most of the time, my views have gone down. My income has gone down. Even though my subs have gone up, the quality's gone up and everything else. The demonetization is a huge problem. So last night I got curious and I went through and I looked at all the ones that came up listed as, you know, fully demonetized or partially demonetized. And the reporting, when you filter by that, doesn't seem to work. There are videos with green dollar symbols that are listed in the partially demonetized or fully demonetized section. There are yellow ones listed in the monetized section, and just between last night and this morning, when I went and I filtered and I checked for that, last night I did request for review, even though it's pointless, on every single video that had been demonetized in my back catalogue, every single one. This morning I redid that search, and just between last night and this morning, a bunch of new ones that weren't demonetized last night had popped up with that. So the reporting doesn't seem to be accurate, and whatever algorithm that they're doing just seems to be sweeping and re-sweeping videos according to new criteria all the time, but not necessarily remonetizing videos that now pass whatever arbitrary standard they've created. But we don't know what's going on because they're not transparent at all, and that is the biggest problem. That is the most concerning problem with YouTube, as it has been since time immemorial. There's just no fucking communication, no consultation, no discussion, and for smaller creators there is nobody that we can get hold of to address our problems or our issues. We just basically have to go along with it. So what is the point of smaller creators struggling to meet these arbitrary and unlisted standards for their videos when they're just going to get demonetized anyway, or now they're going to find it even harder to get monetized? And digging down into the statistics on individual videos, which is what I basically have to do to get anything hopefully approaching accurate information, what seems to be happening is that I'm not getting referrals from other YouTube channels. I suspect, because I've seen this similar pattern on other sites, the thing is, because I talk about current affairs, because I talk about controversial subjects and so on, I suspect that my channel, or at least those videos, is being downlisted, and I suspect my demonetized or limited monetization videos, which seems to be most of them, is also being downlisted. So people are less likely to discover me that way. This in spite of my social media following increasing, and using tools such as the boosts on Minds to try and draw more eyes to my channel. So also probably the problems with the subscriptions and having to tick the bell to get alerts, that's probably not helping either. Probably people who are subscribed to me aren't getting alerts when I put up a new video. And all of this combined makes things difficult for established creators, let alone new creators trying to build their channels. Now this change, because I'm sneaking in under the wire, is probably a net positive for me, because when all of these tiny micro creators are gone and no longer monetized, the advertising pool available to other channels will necessarily increase. So I'm likely to get more adverts shown on my channel and therefore more income. That's probably what's going to happen. So, maybe I should be happy about this happening, but I'm not. What particularly bothers me is the demonetisation, because as a smaller channel, having my videos downlisted, the odds of me achieving that 1,000 hit, especially when people who are subscribed to me aren't being told when my videos come up, the odds of hitting that bar just to have my videos checked is extremely small. How are we supposed to grow? How are we supposed to draw attention? Even safe content about safe subjects on my channel seems to be getting demonetized. Maybe they have flagged certain channels as being more likely to be sensitive, and so the algorithm's sterner and stricter with those channels. I don't know. We don't know. Everything has to be speculation, and that's not any way to run anything. If you've got standards you want us to adhere to, you should show us what they are. And sometimes I put videos up that are controversial or contain more swearing than usual or have horrible intros like this one, and they remain monetized. It's just, it's like a random chimp is hitting buttons on an array of my videos, deciding which and which isn't demonetized, and changing their mind every day and re-hitting the buttons. Even if these changes do end up favouring me, which I think they might, okay, call me a sucker, but I want other people to succeed and have a voice. Okay, so why do I think they're doing this? I think they think that a lot of the extremist content and so on, and they're probably right, is limited to tiny micro channels. And they think that if they get rid of the monetization on that, then they're removing a lot of the problem that they have with monetization appearing on extremist content. They're also reducing the amount of workload that they have to review and look at all the time, because if they're just demonetized anyway, that's less of a problem. Though people are still in the media, the mainstream media, the lamestream as Styx calls it, they're still going to go looking through YouTube for horrible content and say, oh, why is YouTube allowing this to happen? So it's going to help a little bit, but not a huge amount. There's no consistent standard. People have pointed this out over and over, but their preferred partners, like legacy media that comes on YouTube, like Jimmy Kimmel or whatever, they can talk about tragedies and problems and politics and so on, and they won't get demonetized. But someone like me writes about, I don't know, a terrorist incident in London, which is relatively local to me, really, so I've got a local perspective that I think people might value, and that gets demonetized. And there's no consistency between online media and legacy media. I mean, you watch something after 9 o'clock on any terrestrial or cable or satellite channel in the UK, and there'll be swearing, there'll be adult content, and there might even be bare breasts or nudity or whatever. I mean, look at Game of Thrones. And there'll be advertising around that. You got news shows that talk about tragedies and show famine and starvation, whatever, and there's advertising around that. So why is there a different standard here on YouTube? Wouldn't it be better to maybe rate channels similar to film classification, and then allow advertisers to go by film classification? Sort of level? The whole thing's just frustrating, especially because there's no communication. None of it makes sense. none of it holds to any kind of logic or reason, and this random constant churning demonetizations and remonetizations, it's just a huge pain in the ass. But fuck, get it together. I think well, for one thing, you need to get your reporting sorted. Why isn't it a traffic light system on monetization? Green, full monetization. Amber, partial monetization. Red, no monetization. And make it report accurately on the state of the videos, for fuck's sake. That would be a far better way to do things, rather than leaving us guessing. Make your guidelines more explicit and open and understood. Get this fucking algorithm sorted. You're probably focusing on larger creators, but you should probably actually be focusing on the far wider spread of material that you get from smaller creators. You'll train your AI much better with that information than you will with a handful of major creators who are producing fairly homogenous content, fairly similar content. If you want to really train this thing to understand, you need to look at smaller creators who are producing a much wider array of content, and you need to look at ones where the problem is, such as current events and news and social discussion, those kind of channels. You need to fixate your AI on churning and understanding those until it can differentiate between a commentator like me, or Pacman, or Secular Talk, or whoever else, and J random Nazi in his bedroom, you know? That's where you need to focus. But you're not going to listen to me because I'm a tiny channel. You don't listen to even big channels who have problems and suggestions for you, so... I don't know what the solution is. I'm just frustrated. A lot of people are frustrated, and you're going to lose people the moment there is a decent competitor that pops up. Angry Zang.
Take a ride, take a shot now. 'Cause nobody loves